Senate supports Central Bank of Nigeria on Naira redesign. International Monetary Fund IMF tasked Nigeria to curb illicit financial flows and fight corruption. Bank of Industry increases its solar energy fund to 6 billion naira. Plus oil prices fall on easing geopolitical tensions in China. Demand worries. This is Business Express on a network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, and we're reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Leokatin Babatunde. You're welcome. A very good morning to you. We start the program by informing you that the World Food Programme WFP and World Bank have signed an agreement to improve disaster risk protection for vulnerable communities and nations faced with catastrophic climate extremes. The initiative covers 23 countries covering 4.6 million people over the next 2 years. World Bank, United Nations and German government are to jointly fund the initiative. Under this agreement, WFP will receive $20 million from Germany and the United Kingdom through the World Bank's Global Shield Financing Facility. The financial protection means that climate risk insurance means more lives saved, livelihoods preserved, infrastructure protected, and communities empowered. Said Uteklemet, WFP Deputy Executive Director, said having predictable financing ready when climate impacts materialize is crucial in supporting farmers and communities to minimize climate-induced losses and damages. The redesigning of the Naira notes will not only check corruption and counterfeiting, but will also curtail the activities of bandits and kidnappers. Ignatius Mko reports that this is coming from the Senate as it reconvenes after 4 weeks of recess.
The legislators are back to their temporary chamber. The issue of redesigning the Naira note resonated on the floor following a motion by the chairman, Senate Committee on Banking and Finance, Senator Obasani.
There is a need for Nigerians to comply with the time frame concerning the importance of the process to the economy. The CBN should really now go on to very serious enlightenment, because there could be some people in some rural areas who might not even be aware of.
Everywhere in the world doesn't make them to change their currency. But I think we need to look deeper into these issues, the economic implications of it. Is it going to help Nigeria in any way?
1 month and a half is extremely short for what we're about to do. If you withdraw 1 trillion from this economy at once in a month, the ripple effect will affect everybody.
That the central bank should go as far as April ended. I don't believe in 1 year or 2 years.
Mandate the Committee on Banking, Insurance and other financial institutions to embark on an aggressive oversight to ensure that Nigerians are adequately protected.
Senate, through a motion by Senator Gashon Basi, advised that 500 billion naira from the 2023 service-wide votes be provided for the Federal Road Maintenance Agency for the rehabilitation of roads destroyed by the recent flood, while the NNPC Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme be extended to cover maintenance of failed sections of federal roads. Senators Alim Dume and Mohammed Bomoy drew the attention of the Senate to what they described as uneven disbursement of $500 billion naira loan to the 6 geopolitical zones by Nigeria's Development Bank.
The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is accelerating the approval of the Nigerian Automotive policy in a bid to foster a gradual transition from the importation of used cars to the manufacture and distribution of new vehicles. To this end, the ministry is engaging with Volkswagen as part of a follow-up process to the Memorandum of Understanding which Nigeria signed with the company in 2018. Volkswagen made an undertaking to implement a phased approach in relation to the assembly of vehicles, initially from assembly kits, with the long-term view of establishing Nigeria as an automotive hub on the west coast of Africa. Technology, one which has come to stay. Reports say about 60% of Nigerian and African startups are already deep into researching blockchain options. Some technology experts say the blockchain technology can revolutionize government, research, finance, and insurance, just to mention a few. Today we have one of such experts joining us virtually all the way from London, and of course, as we turn attention to blockchain technology, he is Mohammed Ibrahim Jiga, co-founder of Dominion Blockchain Solutions Limited. It is a pleasure to have you on Business Express this morning.
Thank you so much for having me today, Larry. I'm feel honored to be here with you.
Okay, Mohammed, is it winter yet?
Yeah, it is. Weather here is 6 degrees, so it's a bit, it's a bit cool, and we enjoy the weather.
Oh, that's fantastic. Perhaps we'll start by you telling us, viewers, just how many of you with Nigerian origin are out there in the blockchain space?
Yeah, asking about how many of us, because blockchain has shown a massive growth over time, and this has prompted many startups who believe technology is the beginning of change in Nigeria, and it has made many aware and curious as to how they can be a great part of this world. I can say for sure, my startup Dominion have a huge network of Nigerians by promoting increased demand of the made in Nigerian products and showcasing the cutting-edge innovative research of prospective stakeholders and investment partners.
Let me just cut in here. We're having to see a lot of things happen, of course, in Nigeria, from the floods to the exchange rate and what have you. There's some concerns around the GDP and financing key innovation. So perhaps you will tell us, how vital is the blockchain technology to the overall development of Nigeria?
Yeah, it is vital because the potential to transform government activities by offering new ways of organizing processes, handling information. Over the past few years, we see several government countries have been experimenting with application of this novel technology with a wide variety of functions and services, which include land registration, educational credential verification, healthcare management, procurement, supply chain, and what have you. My company has done a lot of things in terms of advocating how we could be able to transform technology around the land system, whereby bringing a decentralized system, bringing a very transparent system in the land system by decentralizing the land process from CFO to certificate of incorporation and what have you. So the same thing can be applied around e-health, where we have likes of VXPass doing solution, whereby transforming e-health solution and making it a bit transparent around that. So that has been also a very good opportunity for us to look at it around the credential verification solution, whereby the technology can bring transparency in verifying our certificates, our credentials of students, where employers can be able to verify the actual use of certificates, because there's so much fake certificates in there. How do you verify those kind of certificates? So the technology can be able to help in terms of providing that kind of transparency and showing the authentication and giving confidence to employers who own that certificate or not.
So
I can say,
can you just let me in? Since we're talking certificates now, do you think we have gotten to that point where we can infuse this into the school curriculum?
yes, we can actually, because we've actually started practicalizing something around there. We have a partnership we're running now between the industry and the academia, which we're currently running with Base University for almost 2 years now. The partnership has fostered a very good collaboration where Dominion, my company, has set up an experience center at Base University in Abuja. And the university has adopted blockchain courses, which they've infused it into the curriculum, and they're just trying to make sure that every student should be able to understand blockchain, should be able to understand the advantages of blockchain, should be able to understand how blockchain can help in terms of increasing and bringing efficiency in different verticals. So what I would say is, the answer is that blockchain technology as a subject in Nigerian school will not only help grow adoption, but it's going to be a key tool for creating jobs and improving educational opportunities across the country. And I'm happy that we've started practicalizing something with this university. We currently have partnership with 12 universities in Africa, but we wanted to do a pivot and also see how we can be able to scale this to on a global scale.
Okay, can you also tell us what is your relationship with government like, and what impact is it making?
I can say for now we have a very good relationship with the government, especially NIDA under the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy. The published National Blockchain Adoption Strategy that has recognized blockchain technology, and also for the president signing into law the Startup Act is a huge impact for the blockchain. So the blockchain industry is capable of attracting huge foreign direct investments, and blockchain startups in Nigeria can now come up with technical, innovative products that will help solve problems, and many vital industries can also boost Nigeria's digital economy. We have a relationship whereby the government has understood the importance of blockchain. Last week, in November 24, we hosted a blockchain day, which is a national blockchain day, for government to cover a day to host blockchain activities, to showcase blockchain products, to showcase blockchain use cases. It's a big win for the industry. That has shown that the blockchain has seen the importance, the government has seen the importance of blockchain. And this is actually going to help us in terms of revolutionizing it. We had almost 14 international speakers, which 8 were foreign speakers, came in to talk about what about different products they build in the blockchain space. Practical experiences, not stories. And also with the partnership we're running with NIDA, we're running the scholarship program for Nigerians to do blockchain courses for free, blockchain development courses, which is going to train 30,000 Nigerians. It's also another big win for the industry. That has shown the government's collaboration and industry, which is a very, very critical part. I've been to several countries, especially in Africa. None has taken this bold step. So we can say Nigeria is really ready, and we're happy with the cordial relationship with the government, and NIDA has showed under the leadership of Kashifu, Inua Abdullahi, to show that collaboration, that togetherness will be able to foster and also boost blockchain development in Nigeria.
Okay, so while the government is considering this and you're enjoying this smooth relationship with NIDA, as you've mentioned, perhaps our viewers will want to know, do we have the necessary environment and infrastructure, for instance, for more Nigerians to get into that space?
Yeah, it's very critical for that, because yes, we do, because currently I mentioned that we launched a blockchain experience center in a partnership with Base University. This is a leading education institution in Africa. and positioning our training students, academia, and professionals, where we're going to train professionals, developers. So if you don't have any basic knowledge about blockchain, you can also subscribe to come and learn and understand how blockchain can help your business, whether in commerce, in security, in agriculture, in health, and as well as we can be able to help set build capacity for young people, and also it can be a launch back for training and preparing them for the future. So what can I say is, yes, the environment is there. We've seen how aggressive Nigerian youths have been taking the financial part of blockchain, which is crypto, and how they've been running with it, how they've been learning, trading, doing a huge transaction on different platforms independently. So how do we harness those potentials and see how we can build on them, fill the gap, and build more capacity around building real products in the blockchain space? So for me, I can say this is first of its kind in Africa, and it's poised at building and unlocking a lot of potentials by exploring powerful capabilities of blockchain that blockchain offers, and also this will accelerate blockchain adoption. Okay. This is very good.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. I'm told we don't have any more time for this conversation, and keep flying the Nigerian flag out there.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So on our Surviving COVID-19 series today, Adrian caught up with a trader who yearns to get any of the loans offered by the CBN to boost his business.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Since 2020, since the COVID-19 came up, it has been a very, very challenging time, because at that period we saw closure of the plaza, and it kind of affected us very well. And more so, the prices of goods kind of increased from the prices used to be in the past, and both we, the sellers and the buyers, kind of felt it. So after that period, it has never come down, so it just keep going up and up and up. Well, I would say that there's no really considerable change, because the prices are still up, even though the lockdowns are no longer in force, but the prices still remain high. Because when we compare the amount we used to buy things during the COVID and post-COVID, we noticed that the prices during the COVID and post-COVID was kind of very much same. There's no difference. So even the customers will even attest to the fact. So there's not been any significant changes so far in the price. Wow, to the best of my knowledge, I haven't heard about it. I didn't apply because I didn't know about it. Well, that would be very, very, very significant and useful for my business, because I know that at this moment in time we need some form of stimulus that really help us to up our game in the business. So if we are opportune to get that loan, I think we really appreciate, and our customers will definitely appreciate it.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central.
Now, do you know that trillions of dollars are spent annually on procurement globally? Perhaps what you don't know is that only 1% goes to women, one of the reasons they're economically disadvantaged, but no more, says the Ministry of Women Affairs and other international development partners, as they strengthen capacity of women entrepreneurs to join the procurement race. Mamsodemet Eti reports.
Though physically challenged, it's not an impediment in any way to her mental and intellectual capability to compete with those without disabilities.
It was last year somebody invited me to the link, so from there started training us on how to package our products, make sure that we are competing with others that they are in high places.
That's Kike Lomo, fully supported by her husband, Kola Wole.
There's no way I would not support her because I'm the next person to her. Yes, we have 3 boys. I see her with that condition and I love her like that.
Hence, selected by the UN Women in collaboration with the Ministry of Women Affairs, trained, mentored and empowered to compete with their counterparts globally.
The training really helped us in terms of inventory taking, it really helped us, feasibility, Yes, I came all the way from Lagos for this event. Out of 5,000, glory to God, I'm here today. It's been a great opportunity. And today I also got a certification that has made me a proper certified PP producer in Nigeria.
Kike and others are here in Abuja to attend this high-level policy dialogue, an exhibition to promote the application of gender-responsive empowerment practices in public and private sectors, organized by their benefactors and other international development partners.
The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs has the National Gender Machinery for the advancement of Nigerian women in collaboration with UN Women are accelerating efforts towards facilitating the application of gender-responsive procurement practices in both the public and private sector with the aim to prioritize MSMEs owned by women. This is expected to ensure expanded access to markets for the women-owned enterprises.
Collaborating with relevant stakeholders to develop and implement economic empowerment programs.
Now equipped and empowered, these women say all they need is a fair playing ground to compete favorably with their male counterparts.
We are ready to take our products anywhere because we have met up with every form of standardization. So we want those.
In Abuja, Mamso Damien Ati.
Into some market news, the equities market closed Wednesday trading session on a positive note. The all-share index climbed 0.54% to settle at 44,046.94 points. A total turnover of 159.4 million securities valued at 2.8 billion were traded in 3,039 deals. Equity capitalization increased to 23.9 trillion naira. The financial services industry led the activity chart with Fidelity Bank Guarantee Trust Holding Company and Zenith Bank. Let's go now to the global stock market.
Global markets are watching developments in Ukraine as the fallout from a missile hitting Polish territory continues. European markets are set to open mixed on Thursday as political uncertainty continues in the region. Shares in the Asia Pacific traded mostly lower, with the Hang Seng Index falling 0.82% as Chinese technology stocks saw sharp losses after Tencent announced to slash its over $20 billion stake in mainland China. The Shanghai Composite fell 0.15% and the Nikkei 225 shed 0.35% across 27,930.57. Investors in the US are anticipating more than half a dozen speakers from the Federal Reserve talking at events around the country Thursday. Futures tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 87 points or 0.26%. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures are also on the green. It's a mixed start for African markets, with South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 posting gains, while Namibia's overall index resumed negative. Others are yet to post new figures. Boss said the able Business Express.
That wraps this midweek edition of Business Express. Of course, this beautiful Thursday morning. Remember to keep in touch with us, so do send in your comments, observations and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. You can also communicate with us via various social media platforms. Business Express returns Friday at 3 p.m. I am Leah Katumbaba today saying have a wonderful day and God bless Nigeria.
24 hours a day. NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Preview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. Apple iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
And welcome to another amazing edition of your weekend.
I'm telling you, it has to be heat, it has to be steamy, it has to be hot. But we decided that somebody has to tell a story that is fashion oriented.
That's all the fighting.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Movie.
Who's everyone here cared about?
See, when you say pour out, you don't call water. You don't excavate water.
This is a #1 program, Gallery. Do you love to gist or gossip?
It's not it is extremely wrong. I love it.
Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Whip and Grow. Welcome to the slang today, where we say it as it is and we get to enjoy ourselves talking about various things that are happening in our society. The first is
One 6 packs. And your job still remains as the man to protect the woman, to project the woman.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on the thing, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window to the world.
Information is power. It's power. It's really powerful. With NTA News Mobile app, the one-stop information center, your news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the new report window, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, no access to real-time information.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day. NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Preview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. Apple iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go.
NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We are live in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. I am Tessie Umeri. We thank you for joining us. Let's begin with the headlines.
The emblem remains a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for a peaceful future.
President Buhari launches 2023 Emblem Appeal Fund, approves more than 134.7 billion naira for payment of security department allowance to veterans. Federal Executive Council approves a request for additional operational vehicles. Legislators give support to Naira redesigning, say it will curb activities of bandits and kidnappers. African Development Bank advocates for right of African countries to use the natural gas reserves. And on a happy note, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved more than 134.7 billion naira for the payment of security debarment allowance to all veterans who retired from the Nigerian Armed Forces with effect from 2017. The president, who dropped these cherry news at the launch of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day Emblem Appeal Fund, stressed the need for the enormous potentials of the ex-servicemen be tapped for national development. State House correspondent Adam Sambu has details.
Apart from commemorating the nation's fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of humanity during the world and civil wars, as well as peace support operations, the launch of the Emblem Appeal Fund is also an opportunity to appreciate the troops still actively engaged in the daunting task of preserving national security. The federal government, President Buhari promised, will not relent in repositioning and strengthening all the nation's security agencies to enable them surmount prevailing challenges and provide a conducive environment free from threats and criminality.
I would like to reiterate my earlier resolve to hand over a Nigeria at the end of my tenure that is free from insecurity to the next generation of leaders, and with the gallantry and sacrifices exhibited by men and women of our armed forces in the campaign against insurgency, I am confident the nation will be returned to normalcy and we will continue to battle decisively through the security challenges.
Citizens, he however said, must refrain from detrimental acts and statements that threaten national unity and integration, but rather engage in those that unite the country. The president, who reiterated government's commitment to the welfare of the nation's veterans, made a case for business enterprises to support the service personnel in form of discounts and rebates upon purchases and services rendered.
The emblem remains a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for a peaceful future, with the unspoken message to our fallen heroes that their sacrifice was noble for the greater good of our fatherland.
Adorning the emblem is one way we can identify with this sacrifice. I therefore wish to implore our students to procure the emblems and wear them with pride as a sign of patriotism and support for the armed forces.
The president announced a 10 million naira donation to the Nigerian Legion on behalf of the federal government, while pledges were made by the National Assembly, the armed forces, the police, and other security services. For Senate President Ahmed Lawan, the resolve by President Muhammadu Buhari to hand over a well-secured Nigeria to the next administration is a collective responsibility by all.
And the best and only and most logical thing to do for us in the National Assembly is to also participate in that enterprise of ensuring that we provide resources
support the armed forces and other security agencies to continue to fight the insecurity that we face. And it's something that is doable. It's a matter of determination. And I'm taking this opportunity here to appeal to all Nigerians that we must at all times support our armed forces.
During the event, government agencies at both federal and state levels, as well as the defense and services headquarters, have been encouraged to interface with and patronize the veterans on matters of security, intelligence and strategy. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Let's talk safety on the highway. With the festive season approaching, it is expected that the activities of the Federal Road Safety Commission will be on the increase towards the prevention of road accidents. In view of this, the Federal Executive Council, at its meeting this Wednesday, approved the request for additional operational vehicles. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi gives us details.
Well, it is Yuletide season, a time when activities on the nation's highway are on the increase, and the Federal Executive Council look for a way to further strengthen the Federal Road Safety Corps so that Nigerians will have safe journeying.
The mandate of the Federal Road Safety Corps is to prevent or minimize accidents on the highway, clear obstructions on any part of the highways, and educate drivers, motorists, and other members of the public generally on the proper use of the highways. And considering the fact that vehicular movement will be on the increase at this festive period, and to ease the pressure this will put on the Commission, the Federal Executive Council at its meeting gave approval to the request of the Commission.
Operational vehicles for the Federal Road Safety Corps. Total 2,578,948,164 naira 36 kobo only. Please note that the contracts were secured by locally based auto manufacturer.
And the Education Minister Adamu speaks on what is happening in that sector.
I had 3 memos which were passed, and all the 3 of them are contracts. The first one is for the National Examination Council, NECO, for the printing of sensitive and non-sensitive materials, which was given to about, I think, 8 contractors in the sum of 5,107,364,373 naira 62 kobo. The second one is a contract for the supply of 18 ambulances fitted with medical equipment to 18 of our unity schools. We have more than 100 of them, so 18 we just decided to select 3 in each geopolitical zone. And the third one is a contract for the perimeter fencing of Usmanu Danfodio University.
The meeting was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari in the State House. NTA News.
The redesigning of the Naira notes will not only check corruption and counterfeiting, but will also curtail the activities of bandits and kidnappers. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that this is coming from the Senate as it reconvened after 4 weeks of recess.
Senate had on Wednesday, 12th of October 2022, suspended plenary to enable standing committees scrutinize the 2023 budgets of ministries to their temporary chamber. The issue of redesigning the Naira note resonated on the floor following a motion by the chairman, Senate Committee on Banking and Finance, Senator Obasani.
There is a need for Nigerians to comply with the time frame concerning the importance of the process to the economy. The CBN should really now go to very serious enlightenment, because there could be some people in some rural areas who might not even be aware of these policies.
American dollar is everywhere in the world. It is being forged everywhere. It is being used everywhere in the world. It doesn't make them to change their currency. But I think we need to look deeper into these issues, the economic implications of it. Is it going to help Nigeria in any way?
1 month and a half is extremely short for what we're about to do. If you withdraw 1 trillion from this economy at once in a month, the ripple effect will affect everybody.
That the central bank should go as far as April ended. I don't believe in 1 year or 2 years.
Mandate the Committee on Banking, Insurance and other financial institutions to embark on an aggressive oversight to ensure that Nigerians are adequately protected.
Senate, through a motion by Senator Gershon Bassey, advised that 500 billion naira from the 2023 service-wide votes be provided for the Federal Road Maintenance Agency for the rehabilitation of roads destroyed by the recent flood, while the NNPC Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme be extended to cover maintenance of failed sections of federal roads. Senators Aline Dine and Mohammed Bomoy drew the attention of the Senate to what they described as uneven disbursement of $500 billion naira loan to the 6 geopolitical zones by Nigeria's Development Bank. Senator Sani Musa was appointed chairman of the ad hoc committee that will investigate the matter.
Urge the bank to expand its loans facilities beyond 5 sectors already captured.
Senate stepped down the consideration of the report of its ad hoc committee on oil theft after 3 members of the committee disowned the report. Visiting legislators from the French Parliament were in the temporary chamber to observe Senate plenary. Senate observed a minute silence in honor of the former clerk of the Senate, Nelson Ayuro, who died last week. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And still from the National Assembly, the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Abdulhamid Dembos, is assuring the Senate Committee on Public Accounts that NTA Calabar will be a model in the country when the reconstruction of the station destroyed by hoodlums during NSAS protest is completed. The DG was represented at an investigative hearing by Executive Director Engineering. National Assembly Correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports.
Public Accounts Committee of the Senate is mandated to investigate the application of finances of federal government by ministries, departments and agencies. Appearing here is a team from NTA invited to speak on allocations on service-wide votes for the year 2018 and 2021. Having provided explanations and documents concerning the 2018 allocation, NTA DG's representative speaks on the expected impact of the 2021 allocation dedicated to bring back to life the looted NTA Calabar.
So I'm happy to report today that the equipment we want to acquire for NTA Calabar will be the first of its kind in the history of Nigeria. Why is this so? In other places we have put digital studio equipment in terms of content creation. But that of Calabar will be content creation and as well content delivery.
For the first one of 2018, we have seen your presentation, particularly for the process. But we have seen a letter written by the approval by the president. So we presume it's good. All right, you are discharged and acquitted.
Discharged and acquitted. The committee sounded a note of warning to other agencies yet to appear that it will not be business as usual. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
Efforts are ongoing to ensure that all flood-impacted communities and victims are provided the needed support. This was the assurance of the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency when some lawmakers expressed dissatisfaction over the distribution of relief materials to victims of the 2022 flood. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Use the Nigerian Navy to go for rescue mission to go and save lives. We use the Nigerian Air Force to drop food items out by state.
And from Edo, 33 communities taking over. Are we not supposed to know and to be on ground with you there when you go?
We apologize for the loss of audio in some parts of the report. Meanwhile, we go on a short break. The news at 10 returns in just a moment. We now hand you over to our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast at the moment.
Now, the law setting up the FCDA.
Transitional Arrangement Directorate, who we are. We were established by the Pension Reform Act of 2004, which was repealed and reenacted as Pension Reform Act 2014. PTAD was established in August of 2013 to consolidate and manage the pensions under the defined benefit scheme of pensioners who retired on or before 30th of June 2007 and did not transit to the contributory pension scheme. The mandate of the Directorate includes to make budgetary estimates for existing pensioners, to prepare and submit monthly payroll of pensioners to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation for direct payment from the budgetary allocation maintained with the CBN to pensioners' bank accounts, to issue payment instructions to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, to maintain a comprehensive database of pensioners under their respective jurisdictions, to ascertain deficits in pension payments, if any, to existing pensioners, to render monthly returns to the Commission on existing staff, pensioners, deceased pensioners, and on any other details. And most importantly, to improve the welfare of the pensioners. PTAD has 4 major operational departments derived from the old pension offices: the civil service pensions, who are civil servants, people who retired from the federal civil service; the police pensions, people who retired from the police; the customs, immigrations, and prisons pensions, people who retired from the customs, immigrations, and what we now call correctional services. But as an innovation, PTAD has the Pensioner Support Services Department, which is a new thing in pension management. And most importantly, PTAD has an information technology department, because the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate prides itself with the innovation of using technology to manage pensions. We also have Finance and Accounts Department and other units which support the Directorate. To bring pension administration to the doorstep of our pensioners and also to satisfy the conditions of the Pension Reform Act 2014, PTAD has state offices where we try to be nearer to our pensioners. And our offices are located in the 6 geopolitical zones: Awka, Benin, Damaturu, Enugu, Ibadan, Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, Maiduguri, Sokoto, and Yola, where we have our state offices. Now, what's happened in the past? In the past, with the old pension scheme, before PTAD, we had this past strenuous verification exercises. Verification was held in one or very few centers making the process long and tedious. Pensioners suffered from the stress of large crowds, queuing for long hours, and collapsing due to dehydration, stress, and were disgruntled. There were no conducive facilities, no canopies provided, no chairs, no refreshment, no conveniences. But most importantly, no database was created after such strenuous exercises. And gentlemen of the press, I want to draw your attention to these photographs. Look at them very well. Pensioners sitting on the floor, struggling for a verification exercise. These are the photographs that gentlemen of the press put up when they want to describe PITAD. This is not PITAD. This is what happened in the past. And this is the old order. It might relate to pensioners at the state level, but not pensioners managed by the federal government, by the Pension Transitional Arrangements Directorate. So please, I hope that going forward you'll take that correction. Thank you very much. Now, what are we doing in PITAD? For the past 9 years, PITAD has strategically and intentionally reformed and revolutionized pension administration using technology. And we have intentionally been changing the narrative as far as pension administration is concerned in Nigeria. And how have we been able to achieve this? We've been able to achieve this by virtue of biometric verification of pensioners through field verification exercises across the 6 geopolitical zones, which took place between 2015 and 2019. We actually had the last verification exercise in November of 2019 with the Paraceto Pension Department. As a result of the verification exercise, we've been able to build from the scratch. This is the first of its kind, a digitized, centralized, comprehensive, and credible database of pensioners with their pension records under the defined benefit scheme in Nigeria. We have also introduced an automated computation, that is calculation of pension benefits. We also have been able to do due diligence on our payroll and payments using an integrated automated system. Payments are automated using the Government Integrated Financial Management Information System, GIFMIS, to preserve the sanctity of pension funds. We also have created a complaints resolution and management portal to support the client service management system. This was never in existence. Pensioners didn't have a voice. They had nobody to talk to. They had nobody to discuss their problems and their issues with. PITAD pride dedicated, professional and highly motivated staff, and a work culture which has been driving this reform that PITAD has been carrying out. PITAD also has an anti-corruption and transparency unit to prevent pension fraud. PITAD has also launched a service charter detailing PITAD's service contract with pensioners with complaint resolution timelines. We carry out a lot of due diligence during the onboarding and payrolling of pensioners. And very, very lately, we have introduced the I'm Alive confirmation solution to verify pensioner status of aliveness at regular intervals. I'm going to talk about that much later. Now, let's look at the PITAD mode of verification. Gentlemen of the press, please take a photograph of what I'm showing you now. This is the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate. We provided verification centers per geopolitical zone to ensure crowd control. We created a 4 simple step process from arrival to completion of verification to minimize wait time and stress. We provide lunch, water, and the conducive environment for refreshment for pensioners. We provide wheelchairs, standby ambulances, first aid for emergency situations. And the greatest innovation is our mobile verification for people who are infirm, ill, and disabled. PTAD goes to the homes of these pensioners. You can see that's another verification center. That's an ambulance. You can see PTAD pensioners eating at a verification. You can see their food. And that's a PTAD pensioner on the wheelchair. Next slide. This is our mobile verification. We've deployed teams to over 80 different cities, towns and villages, and countless hospitals across the entire nation. Sometimes in very hazardous circumstances. You can see the first, go back on the slide. You can see the first photograph of a pensioner in the hospital being verified by PTAD staff. The second photograph is a pensioner in her home being verified by PTAD staff. Next slide. And you can see our pensioners wading through water and vegetation to verify our pensioners, just to make sure that our senior citizens who are eligible and qualified to receive pension are not only captured on our database, payrolled and paid their pension, but are also accorded the respect and dignity. 897 pensioners from the payrolls of the old pension offices. Through verification, we've been able to create a centralized database, which is complete with pensioners' personal information, biometrics, and career documents. This database is the first of its kind in the history of defined benefit pension in Nigeria. For the police pension department, we actually inherited 18,370 pensioners. We were able to verify 16,514. We removed 3,757. These are people who are either not qualified or have not provided complete and adequate documents. We enrolled 2,525 because there were still people who were qualified for pension who had not been enrolled because of the inefficiency of the past. And currently, as at the October 2022 payroll, we have 15,437 pensioners on our payroll. For the Customs, Immigration and Prisons Pension Department, we inherited 12,203, verified 12,338, removed 184, enrolled 935, and currently on our payroll we have, as at October 2022, we have 11,380 pensioners. For the Civil Service Pension Department, we inherited 129,999 on the payroll. We verified 112,915. We removed 27,565. We enrolled 25,998. And currently, as at October 2022, we have 104,894 pensioners on the Civil Service Pension payroll. For the Parastatal Pension Department, we inherited 108,325 and verified 100,127 pensioners. We have removed 21,227 and we enrolled 11,460 pensioners, and currently on our payroll we have 94,617 pensioners. So in summary, at inception, we inherited 268,897 pensioners, and currently on our payroll, we have 226,328 pensioners. Now, our payroll values are very dynamic. Apart from pensioners removed because they are not qualified to receive pension, we have, pension is for life. So as pensioners die, we remove them on a monthly basis from the payroll as we get the information. And because of the success of the defined benefit scheme under PTAD, we have a lot of pensioners who have hitherto abandoned their pension and they're now coming forward. So we keep enrolling new pensioners. So it's a dynamic figure that we have on a monthly basis. Next slide. Now, what did we meet at inception at PTAD in terms of the management of the files and records of pensioners, their service records? Now look at the before. All those things you see in the second, they are all tattered pieces of paper. PTAD had to put all these papers together, get to the verification exercises, collect career documents and all of that. And this is what we have now. We have their documents well arranged and put together in a good storage system. And we have actually recently procured a mechanical storage system which will give us easier access to the files. We'll be able to pull out a file with the snap of a button. So that is where we are now with pensioners' files from where we started. The big innovation for pension management is the automated computation and payroll management system. In the past, when pensions were manually computed, I can tell my friend I need 100,000 on top of my pension. And regardless of what my pension is, I get 100,000 on top of my pension. Or if I don't like somebody who used to work in the service and I'm the one doing the pension, I'll make sure that his pension is deducted by however much I want because it was manually done. But PTAD created an innovative benefits computation software which pulls information from the verification data to automate the calculation of pension benefits with minimum manual and human interference. So using the computation software, only pensionable components, the basic salary, housing, transport, utility, meal and entertainment, with approved salary structures and the pensioner's service years are used in the calculation. So once the pensioner's benefits are accurately computed, the variation is uploaded to the payroll. And the payroll management system helps with managing changes and updates to monthly pension payments. Like I told you, maybe removals, adjustment of pensions, and additions. Now, PTAD has an automated payment process. A lot of people have the misconception that maybe if they've not received their pension, it has entered into the account of one PTAD staff. Technology has made that impossible. What happens with PTAD is that before the 15th of every month, the departments prepare the pension payrolls and they send to the office of the executive secretary for approval. After the approval, the pension payroll is uploaded on the government integrated financial management information system, which is the payment platform managed by the office of the accountant general of the federation. And it's important to say here that every pensioner has a unique identifier, which we call an employee code. And this employee code is generated from a verified pensioner. So no two pensioners have the same employee code. And the pension payments are finalized on the GIFMIS platform subject to cash backing from the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the pension payments are remitted from the CBN directly to the account of the pensioner. Nobody can come in between that movement. So our monthly pension payments as at October 2022, I've already told you, is always a dynamic figure. But as at October 2022, we paid a total of 226,328 pensioners, and the total amount paid was 9.1 billion. It is important to note that since January 2015, to December 2021, PTAD has paid a total of 610 billion in monthly pensions to our pensioners. Now, one of the things we pride ourselves as doing well is the fact that we have a robust complaints resolution system, which is modern and innovative, also responsive, attentive, pensioner-friendly, and result-oriented. And this has led to a reduction in the number of pensioners' complaints being received over the years. And to further support the automated complaints resolution process, PTAD has very active side channels of engagement. We have our working contact centers at the headquarters or any of our 11 state offices. You can write a letter to the executive secretary, but the pensioners don't only write a letter to the executive secretary, they call her even at 12 midnight. So they all have my number and they call. You can also call our call center or send an email. You can fill a complaint form on our website, and you can send a message on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Next slide, please. So this is our walk-in contact center at the headquarters. So you can see some pensioners being attended to at our walk-in center. And this is our call center with PTAD staff taking calls from the pensioners. And you can see that they have their system in front of them. So some of the complaints are resolved immediately, real time. When it is something that immediately they check the biometric database and they're able to tell you the status of either your complaint or whether your payment has been made real time. And if it is something that is to be escalated, they go ahead and do so, and we have a complaint tracking system. Next slide, please. Now this slide shows you what has been happening over the years. We now have a decline in the number of complaints being received. And this is the greatest evidence that PTAD is working. We used to have a deluge of complaints. Have we stopped having complaints? No. But what we now have are pockets of complaints. And we keep saying that PTAD is work in progress. But in terms of achieving our mandate, I'll make bold to say we've gone to up to 90%. So this graph shows you what has been happening over the years in terms of the complaints we now receive in PTAD. Next slide. So our key successes. Through the unwavering support of President Muhammadu Buhari, who has been adjudged by pensioners as the most pensioner-friendly president in Nigeria. You can't convince them about that. They have actually written a letter, of which they copied me, to say they want to give him an award before he leaves as the most pensioner-friendly president in the history of Nigeria. They are even issuing threats that anybody who is coming in 2023 who is not going to treat them like President Buhari will be in trouble. And his administration has made pension an unwritten first-line charge. It must be stated here that in the 1979 Constitution, pension was a first-line charge. But when the Constitution was amended in 1999, it was removed as a first-line charge. Yeah. So President Muhammad Buhari has made it an unwritten first-line charge because we make sure that pensions are paid even before salaries. We also appreciate the able supervision of the Honorable Minister for Finance, Budget and National Planning, our regulator, PENCOM, PTAD's management team, and as a result of all of this, we've been able to achieve the following. The first thing is the full implementation of the Treasury single account, which has ensured the sanctity of pension funds and enshrined transparency in pension payments. Pension funds are no longer domiciled in commercial bank accounts. They are now with the TSA in the CBN. So that is a big plus in pension management. Regular monthly payments of pension without fail since inception, as and when due. And from January 2015 to December 2021, as I earlier said, we have paid a total of 610 billion in pensions to Nigerian defined benefit scheme pensioners under PITAD. PITAD has also been able to pay long-standing arrears to pensioners across all the pension departments, and I'm going to talk about that. We also have regular engagement with pensioners and other stakeholders across all the 6 geopolitical zones to update them in what their constraints and complaints are, and this has been a very useful exercise to PITAD. Now, with the privatization, commercialization and privatization reform of Nigeria, were either privatized or completely liquidated. And post-privatization, the staff of these agencies were not provided for. They were left hanging, no benefits, no pension, nothing. But in 2017, President Muhammadu Buhari listened to the cries of these pensioners. A lot of them came with arrears of pensions or entitlements ranging from 84 months to 219 months. First of all, President Muhammadu Buhari instructed that we put them on the payroll. And we started paying a lot of them who their terms of engagement entailed payment of monthly pension. But there were some of them that, in terms of the terms of engagement, percent of the entitlement had been paid by the Bureau for Public Enterprises, but they still had 85% of their entitlement unpaid. So, between 2019 to date, we have completed the one-off payment for Nigerian Aviation Handling Company with 661 pensioners. We have completed the one-off payment for the Aluminium Smelter Company with 1,031 pensioners. We've completed the one-off payment for Savannah Sugar with 1,596 pensioners. 122 pensioners of the NNSL, that's a New Nigerian Shipping Line, Nigerian National Shipping Line. We have completed the 69 months arrears payment for Assurance Bank for 251 of them. We have completed the 126 months of arrears we inherited for Nigerian Reinsurance for 287 of them. We have completed the arrears of 219 months we inherited for New Nigerian Newspapers, 509 of them. We just last month completed the arrears of 100 months that we inherited for Nikon Insurance for 1,046 of them. We have also last month completed the 96 months inherited from Delta Steel Company. Now we only have Nitel MTEL as a defunct agency that we have not completed the inherited arrears. We inherited 84 months of arrears for Nitel MTEL. We have paid 21 months of that inherited arrears till date, and we are supposed to have a balance of 63 months. But I'm happy to announce that yesterday we settled 15 months for 5,010 pensioners of Nitel MTEL. And in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we're going to do another 15 months for the balance of the 5,000 and so Nitel MTEL pensioners. And that would bring down the arrears for Nitel MTEL pensioners to 48 months. As we pay, it is getting lighter. We inherited arrears of over a long period of time. So it would look a bit insensitive to expect that government will be able to liquidate the arrears in one day. But when somebody is owing you, and the person accepts that they are owing you, that is one. And when the person has shown good faith By servicing that loan, you're almost there. So I will enjoin pensioners of Nitel MTEL to bear with us. Government is sensitive to your plight, and government is committed to liquidate the balance of the arrears. And so far, we have paid a total of 39 billion in arrears to the defunct privatized agencies. The next of kin of deceased pensioners have not been left behind in all the payments that we've been making. And so far, we have paid a total of 3,832 next of kin of deceased pensioners across the 4 operational departments, and to the tune of 7.1 billion. And it is a continuous process. But we do have challenges sometimes with payment of NOKs because of incomplete documentation. And we keep saying NOK payments are like money in the belly of the tiger. If you make a mistake and pay in that bulk money, to retrieve it is a problem. So we always go through a lot of due diligence when it comes to payment to next of kin of deceased pensioners. Next slide. The implementation of the consequential adjustment arising from the minimum wage increase of 2019. This particular consequential adjustment is novel in so many ways. The first is the fact that this consequential adjustment was not based on the way pension increments were done in the past. Pension increments in the past were done based on percentages. You had a 33% across board, 150% across board. But PITAD chaired the committee that looked into the consequential adjustment arrears consideration. And we had looked at how things had gone. There are some pensioners whose pension is 100 and something thousand. You offer him a 33% increment. Then you have a pensioner whose pension is 500 naira. You offer him the same 33% increment. What are you doing? The rich gets richer, the poor gets poorer. Because the whole idea behind an increment is to handhold and pull up those people who are down, not to add to the people who are on top. So the pension increment that came on as a result of the consequential adjustment was based on absolute figures. Now, these absolute figures now pulled up pensioners to the extent that we now have what we can call a minimum pension. So there's no pensioner in the that is taken care of by PITAD that earns less than 8,638 naira 74 kobo, as against 500 naira that some people were earning in the past. But people will be wondering, why would a pensioner be earning 500 naira? You see, in the pension transitional arrangement directorate, we have, especially the civil service pension, we have 2 groups of pensioners. Pensioners that are federal, pure federal pensioners, and pensioners we call state with federal share pensioners. Now, these state with federal share pensioners are pensioners who were employed by the regional governments or the states before 31st of March 1976. The federal government decided to take care of their share of pensions. So now, having said that, it means that if somebody was employed on the 1st of February 1976, the person is only entitled to 1 month of federal share. So the money is not going to be wonderful, because it means that the bulk of that person's pension is going to be paid by what? The state government. So that's why we had people with that kind of meager sums on our payroll. This particular pension increment has been adjudged the most impactful and the most equitable in the history of pension increments in Nigeria. And I think we should thank President Muhammad Buhari for implementing this increment. The increment was approved in May of 2021. It took effect from April of 2019. So at that point, we had incurred 24 months arrears. But another novel thing about this pension increment is that we got the approval by May. By June, we had implemented. And before the end of 2019, we had literally finished servicing all the arrears. It has never happened in the history of pension increment in Nigeria. The 2010 33% increment, we finished paying it in 2019. It took how many years to pay? Other accrued inherited pension arrears. PTAD has cleared the 33% increment arrears of 2010 to all the operational departments. PTAD has also paid 1.1 billion pension arrears and gratuities to pardoned war-affected police officers and next of kin of deceased officers. You may recall that in May of 2000, President Obasanjo gave amnesty to the fought on the Biafran side, the policemen who fought on the Biafran side, and converted their dismissal to retirement. But we have been able to sort out the pension arrears and gratuities due to this group of pensioners. In 2020, because of the deluge of complaints we were getting from the civil service pensioners, we instituted a computation project to look at all the files that we got and all of that to take care of arrears that were owing pensioners. And we paid over 8.5 billion as arrears of pensions and gratuities to civil service pensioners and their next of kin. And that computation is still ongoing because we're going through our payroll from the beginning to the end to validate and find out who is being owed arrears and to settle that. Also, in 2021, the government approved a 9.7% increment for PHCN workers when they were agitating for their 33% increment. So that 33% increment was negotiated to 9.7%. And approval was given to us in 2021, and this approval was supposed to take effect from April of 20.9 billion that accrued as a result of that approval. Now, I had mentioned defunct and privatized agencies. These agencies were managed by Pension Board of Trustees, and some of them had their funds with insurance underwriters. Now, post-privatization, nobody did anything to recover those funds. And government has been making all the payments concerning these pensioners from money generated and paid into the Consolidated Revenue Fund. But PTAD has been able to recover about 17.8 billion of these legacy pension assets from the Board of Trustees of underwriters of these treasury funded parastatals, and we have been able to apply these funds to pay some outstanding inherited liabilities. We also in 2021 got 26.5 million pounds of pension funds that had been was being managed by the Crown Agents Investment Managers Limited in the United Kingdom, and we also used that to defray pension liabilities in 2021 at a huge ceremony that the Minister of Finance presided over. Now, what has been PTAD's contribution to the national economy? The first and the most important is the regular payment of monthly pensions as and when due. Transparent and prudent settlement of inherited liabilities. The public outcry and complaints from pensioners has quietened over the years. If you hear a lot of pensioners shouting somewhere, they are not PTAD pensioners. You might see one or two or three, like I said, pockets. Have we solved all the problems of pensioners under the defined benefit scheme? No, we haven't. But have we substantially solved their problems? Yes, we have. So there is increased trust in the government's commitment to the welfare of pensioners and the ability of government to professionally administer pension payments. The economic livelihood and welfare of thousands of pensioners under the defined benefit scheme has improved, as thousands of pensioners hitherto dropped from the payroll or who had never received payments are now being enrolled and have a regular means of sustenance. Post-verification, thousands of irregular ineligible beneficiaries have been dropped from the payroll, thereby reducing government liability. Pensioners have the assurance that they will no longer be required to come out for field verification exercises, which are very costly to administer. PITAD's contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals. I think we tick SDG 1 and SDG 3. We've lifted thousands of DBS pensioners out of poverty through the increase of the minimum pension from 500 to 8,638. That 8,000 really meant a lot to them, because when we went to some stakeholder engagement, some of them said to me, yes, we now buy chicken. And I said, thank President Muhammadu Buhari. Pensioners who still support their families from their monthly pensions play an economic role in improving the livelihood of their dependents. And PITAD holds the pension funds as sacrosanct, and the rights of pensioners are upheld as it pertains to the non-encumbrance of their pension benefits. We have also contributed in improving the welfare of pensioners by keying into the national health insurance for older persons, seniors and our senior citizens, for purchase of drugs. And PITAD and pensioners are very expectant that the national health insurance will come on stream. Pension is so convenient we make the centers. However, whatever kind of services we provide, if we have a verification center in Kano and you have to come from Kaduna for the verification, it is a stress for the pensioner. It's money consuming for the pensioner. It also is a very huge expense for government. So PITAD decided to key in on technology, and we have launched the pilot phase of the Life Confirmation Solution. And this is a web-based solution that will enable a pensioner confirm his aliveness in the comfort of his home or in his environment using a smartphone or a computer system. So we have launched that initiative. We've done the pilot scheme of 50,000 pensioners, and that has successfully been concluded. And recently we also concluded the training for pension union executives and pension desk officers to handhold this pensioner. We have to make sure that appropriate and adequate awareness is created to make sure that we don't have any eligible pensioner left behind. Very soon we're going to roll out for the whole generation, for the whole federation, for all the defined benefit pensioners. This is what the exercise looks like. This is the one, the fingerprint verification exercise. We have two forms of the confirmation process. It's either you do a facial recognition or the fingerprint capture. And these are also, they are now matched against the biometrics we had already collected at verification. So the Life verification process is only for PITAD pensioners who have been verified and are already on our database. Recently, the Bank of Industry retirees who retired under the defined benefit scheme have been added to our portfolio of pensioners, and we have taken it upon ourselves to do the usual what we normally do, our due diligence, to verify them prior to payrolling them. And I'm sure that very soon we'll start payrolling all of them, because we have done verification exercises in the north and we did one in the southwest as well. Improving pensioners on stream with the health insurance so that they will stop spending their pensions on drugs. Also, we intend to have more coverage across the states. Recently, we opened state offices in Ibadan and Yola. We opened 2 new state offices, and we actually have 2 more new state offices in the offing because we've already been allocated accommodation for a state office in Ilorin, Kwara State, and for one in Akwa Ibom, in Oyo. So hopefully very soon we'll also be able to open state offices in those paying off of the balance of 56 billion. Now today is 48 billion. When I prepared this yesterday, it was still saying 58. So I'm glad to say that we brought that figure down to 48 now for offsetting the NITEL-MTEL inherited arrears. We also have an estimated 61 billion outstanding for the payment of ex-PHCN and Nigerian Railway Corporation pensioners. But that has to go through a validation process, which is what we are going through at the moment, to be able to really ascertain how much these people are entitled to. Harmonization of pensions. Our pensioners have been complaining about the inequity in pensions, and let me give you an example. You see, your pension is calculated based on the salary structure that was operational at your point of retirement. So that is to say that over years, when salary structures change, you are still where you were. Nothing changes. And anybody who has retired after you on the same grade level and the same step, same number of years put in service, but with a different salary structure up at the point at 100,000. So we are worked to harmonize pensions and bring equity in the pensions that our pensioners earn, and we are hoping that very soon we'll be able to get that to a conclusional provision 2024. It's a work in progress, and we're continuing with that. So now in Nigeria, there's this saying, go and verify. So I have said all that we have from the press. This one is from the Tribune of sometime in 2022. NUP, that's the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, showers encomium on PTAD, vows to mobilize votes for pensioner-friendly presidential candidates. So you see, they've already put a name to it. Or your pensioners commend PTAD over credible database. Old pension with PTAD, most federal pensioners' woes are over. Will only vote for pension-friendly candidates, NUP. But the go and verify is not enough if you don't hear from our major stakeholders and our customers. So we have a 7-minute video to play for you, to listen to them, to hear what they have to say about what President Muhammadu Buhari has been able to do for the Nigerian pensioner. Thank you very much.
Has been the best. Before God and man. Let people say whatever they like about Buhari. I am not a politician and I can never be one. President Muhammadu Buhari's regime has been the best so far as it concerns the lot of pensioners. Over the years, you heard of pensioners dropping dead while queuing for their entitlements. As soon as the man has said, maybe because he's an old man, I wouldn't know. He appreciates the lot of the pensioner. He sympathizes with their lot. The information we got was that he gave a marching order to his subordinates who are in charge of pensions. Pay them as and when due. Don't join with their pensions, and they have been paying. We know we have challenges in this country from what is reported to us. Twice, I remember, there's a 3% pension increase. We carry the backlog into Muhammad Buhari's regime. In pension increase, in pension entitlements of pensioners have all been paid off. While other establishments did not have the new adjustment, pension under PTAD which is superintended by Dr. Chioma Ejikeme, made sure that, I don't know how she did it, maybe she went to kneel down before Mr. President. You asked us to be doing this thing well. So please give us money so that we can pay. Of course, she paid. When my union members asked me, what is happening? What miracle is this? Well, give glory to God first and foremost, and begin to praise Mr. President for doing well. They know I don't praise people unless they actually do well. But we must confess so that we won't sin against God and against humanity.
I am not where the president of the country comes from about that. I'm proud to be associated with that, but he did very well the pensions.
I think it's important for me to give testimony here on the able job done by the PTAD and President Muhammadu Buhari on the weight of us Nigerian police officers who served in Biafra during the Civil War, who were dismissed at the end of the war because of their services, and who, that year after their dismissal, their presidential amnesty, were recalled and retired honorably through radio announcement. So we want to give testimony that on assumption of office of the present Executive Secretary, Dr. Chioma Ejikeme, she convened a special stakeholders conference only for retired war appointed officers in Enugu at the beginning.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV Channel 251, GoTV Channel 91, Preview UK Channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world. NTA, you can't be Deutsch.
The fashion industry, which is today a multi-trillion-dollar business in the world, is understood as part of a cultural and social history. Nigeria has won and it has evolved with time, projecting a particular trend at a time, which usually is widely accepted at a time, but only to be rejected after a while. This is called in or out of vogue. While the British packed their bags to leave after our independence, most of the common things we shared with them remained. The language, religion, culture, and very interestingly, fashion. Designers of this era targeted the expensive clothes to suit the urban lifestyle. One of such hits for the ladies was the miniskirts and gowns. It was a fashion sensation of the time, designed from really bright colors. For the men, fashion saw an uncommon change. Colors were introduced into the men's fashion. Slim-fitted trousers and print shirts were the order of the day. Lapels took wild dimension, so also did their trousers. The shoes at the time were platform, and of course the stiletto 3 inches heels for the ladies. Mrs. Shade Thomas Fan was the first woman to own a boutique in Nigeria in the 60s, having just returned from overseas studies. She had a hard time trying to convince Nigerians to wear anything other than European fabric. Most people picked their clothes from catalogs abroad. Mrs. Fan, however, embarked on building an identity for Nigerians by inventing and creating many innovative styles using traditional African fabrics. Her efforts kick-started what today is known as the Nigerian fashion industry.
She told me I was such a loser, and that's why she was gonna break up with me. Everybody can hear that. Ìgbà tó ṣe dandan pé kò ṣe mọ́ ẹ̀kẹ́kẹ́ gbogbo ìfẹ́ tí mo tẹ́sítọ̀ kí ló fẹ́ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí mi tó bá lọ ìrìnàjò tó bá lọ ìrìnàjò.
By the 1970s, the African fabric was gradually being accepted. Notable fabric then were the ashoki, apete, velvet, and the adire tie and dye. These were used to create lovely fashion styles over time. The trending style, especially for Southwest ladies, were the Iro and Buba. This later evolved to our today's Oniku. It was mostly worn by married women or older ladies, while the young girls remained with the gown. Though this time it had come down a bit to below the knee. In the South, however, women there wore mostly maxi gowns, while Southeast women tied 2 steps wrapper, usually called the Hollandis, for ceremonies. The men of the 70s really made their fashion statement with their bongo trouser, black heel shoes, and afro hair. The Festac style was popularized during the Obasanjo's Festac 77. The style represented freedom of the butterfly. All the while, the men, especially the Yoruba and the Hausa, had the flowing gown known as the Babariga in Hausa and Agbada in Yoruba. In the 80s, the designers created a platform of such flowing gown for the female, and it was popularly called the bubu. This fashion cut across lots of West African countries, including Senegal and Mali. Each signed its signature or identity on the embroidery pattern and the thread. This fashion hung on for a long time in the 90s, probably because of its ease and comfort. It was usually designed with the Ankara or Adire, but later the lace came in. The craze for high heels and stiletto shoes and sandals was dropped for flatter shoes and slippers, especially for the men. Of note was the type of suit or coat used by the suit lovers. They were usually big, double-breasted, with large shoulder pads. Even the ladies used the shoulder pad for their simple blouses and shirts. Fashion of the 80s saw bold makeup and to a large extent excessive jewelries. The canvas shoes, acid wash jeans, denim jackets were trending. Some still retained the voluminous glossy hair, mostly hot-peaked. The 1990s fashion was crazy but definitely not indecent. With the rhythm and lyrics of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the youths were trending with styles such as the crop top, the plaid, the overalls, and the three-piece suits, sometimes with tuxedos. For the school children, you did not want to miss your Cortina shoes from Bata. It was fun. By the late 90s, the lace fabric and jacquard were fully trending, especially for ceremonies. The Ankara up and down gradually began to creep in, though the style was still simple. For the men, The seat buttons moved to simple-breasted, but remained slightly large. The trousers were noticeably still large. A simple A-line skirt and gown were the looks of the working ladies. It has been said that fashion revolutionized in the 21st century. Indeed it was, and still is. But are they really different from what the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even the 90s offered? For one, the Ankara has really been accepted and tweaked into funky looks. With the help of Nigerian positively crazy designers, the Ankara fabric and styles are paraded world over with pride. Again, take a closer look at their styles. You will clearly spot the old styles of our fathers and mothers. For instance, the flowing full skirts and gown of the 70s are back with a little addition here and there. The Roman Buba is definitely back, but as Umuku. The Bobo of the 80s and the 70s redefined as the kaftan, with little additions of sleeves and more daring embroidery or fabric patches for the ladies. The thick afro hair or kinky hair for the ladies is rocking their world again. The Babariga is back as well, but now cut shorter for ease. Interestingly, it is worn today by both men and women. What goes up must come down, they say, and we've had that definitely epitomized in our fashion trends. So, don't be quick to dump your old styles. Give it a while and watch it come back with a bang. Fashion keeps evolving.
And welcome to another amazing edition of Your Weekend.
I'm telling you, it has to be heat, it has to be steamy, it has to be hot. But we decided that, somebody has to tell a story that is family oriented. Welcome to another edition of Talking Movie. Who's everyone ever cared about. See, when you say poor, you don't call water, you don't excavate water.
This is a number one program, Valerie.
Do you love to gist or gossip?
It is extremely wrong. And we love it.
Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Whip and Grow. Welcome to the slang today, where we say it as it is and we get to enjoy ourselves talking about various things that are happening in our society.
One 6 packs. And your job still remains as the man to protect the woman, to project the woman.
And we are available today in Primrose NTA. The key among ingredients, we have the flour, the coffee oil, the curry, the cube stock, we have a green pepper, the lemon pepper, we have the cabbage, we have the vegetable oil, we have the salt, and the carrots. All the ingredients you need for this preparation. You need to open the pot, you need to pan, you need to wash your food much. You need to put the little cups, your lungs, and your elbows, and the green wall. So we're going to get dry. a little bit of regular oil in your frying pan. Not too much. Then you will go together. And a little bit of not too much. You can much a little. Then you will carry one minute and 30 seconds. Now, when you have to reach your frying spring pan, you can put color because I know that you want to be very, very attractive. So when you want to make it more, you look at it and still very attractive. Now, the next thing you have is your carrot. When you have to show here is the proportion of the carrot and the carrots. You don't need to eat on the fire in case you're frying. The only thing you don't have is the raw carrot. This is how you don't have it. If you stop, you will you realize nothing at this theory, but you believe that some has not important. On one way to the same. May have a good thing of salt, not too much. We're going to be making our paper which we use for wrapping the spring. Now, this is a very stiff flour. I'm going to be using 1 cup. 11 eggs. 11 eggs. 1.5 cup of water. It's getting to become very smoky and there's no inside. Okay, so now next thing we're going to be doing is preparing our paper wrapper. And in that, we need to oil our tray because this is what we're going to put in there. So you pour a little oil in the water. Put a little towel. When you do that, only make sure the water is off. Then you pour your pot here. You will see it's going to dry up gradually, then it will give you an edge you like it with your hands. Bottom. So you leave the oil to get out for like a few minutes. Before you start frying with spring. Now, after frying for a while, realize the color is not golden brown.
The lymphy glands and have affected our taste buds. These snacks have gotten nationwide approval. Let's start with a snack made from beans. Known in English as bean cake, this quick meal has gained nationwide traction. I'm talking about the popular akara, as it is known in the south, or koso in the north. It can be eaten with another well-known mixture called pap, also known as akamu or ogi in the southwest, or koko in the north. Groundnut, popularly grown in the north, is a snack, eaten cooked or roasted. Groundnut, when mashed with pepper, is eaten with garden egg at special occasions in the southeast. When roasted, it can be eaten with other snacks like gari, popcorn, or roasted plantain. Groundnut can also be made into kulikuli, a groundnut paste, which is then baked with different ingredients to give it a desired taste. In whatever form you take it, it is very satisfying. Corn is another readily available snack in streets across the country eaten alone, and sometimes roasted beef, known as suya, is another nationally accepted snack. Originating from northern region with specially prepared spices, it is mostly sold by northerners in the evenings
and at night time along street corners. Finally, we end with kola nut, said to be grown in the southwest, consumed in the north, and celebrated in the southeast. Kola nut has been able to traverse the whole country. It is a good source of caffeine, which may be why long-distance drivers have it handy when on the road.
This is the network service of the NTA.
The issue was raised as a matter of urgent public importance by Representative Garba Dr. Mohammed. He noted that the road is of economic importance as it is a major link between the north and south of Nigeria. The House urged the Ministry of Works and Housing to direct the contractor to resume work, and as federal government should...
Because they are facing threats of demolition from the FCDA, and they have all documents backing the development. The second one is from Inspector Ezekiel Bagau, and it is against the Police Service Commission. The intervention of this House for his reinstatement. The last one is from the Sunday is Itari, on behalf of the family and Mr. Emi Veriboy, who is the secretary of their organization. And they are bringing this petition, sir, against Shell Petroleum Development Company for forceful entry and malicious damage to their properties. And they require the intervention of this House. Sir, I request your leave to lay the petitions. There is another petition. Sorry, go ahead. I have before me a petition from my immediate federal constituency titled Petition Against 1. The Inspector General of Police, 2. Assistant Inspector General of Police, 4. CID Alagbon, and 3. Officers of the DCP X-Squad Team, Force CID Alagbon, Lagos State, led by 1 DSP Dele Ajibade, for shielding the 5 police officers that are Olamide from prosecution. The Speaker, this unfortunate incident has practically split the entire family into depression, and I want to appeal to allow me to make this petition, and there should be given an expeditious accelerated hearing for the sense of justice. This very case is Africa. The mother of the deceased has been taken away from the family compound. The girlfriend of the deceased, she was attempted to commit suicide twice. Members for calling the to order. You may lay your petition. In fact, the Committee of Public Petitions. That please.
It's about the Kaduna Express Highway, which the construction, as the construction is going on, Julius Berger decided to park its personnel and equipment in the Jere Kaduna portion of the road. So it has become a very serious problem.
I think I discussed this with you. This is not a motion of urgent public importance, but as defined in our rules on the face of it. But Honorable Dati was able to go into detail and explain to me the security implications of that motion. If you look at it, is an infrastructure it should come on notice. It should come on notice. But I've already read the details on why it is being brought. We decided to take an exception and take it. So,
Mr. Speaker, you can also see reason why he smuggled in my name to take.
Colleagues arise to second this motion of urgent public importance. I so second.
I got it. I will that to please move your motion.
Announced that the Federal Executive Council had approved the contract for the rehabilitation of Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano Expressway, among other approvals, with a delivery date of December 2022. Equally recalls that the Honorable Minister announced that the firm, which had initially been contracted to undertake the rehabilitation of the road, Julius Berger PLC, will also be responsible for the reconstruction of the road. Further recalls that following concerning incessant and rampant incident of banditry along the Abuja-Kaduna highway, the contractor withdrew its workers from the road for security reasons. Note that at the time of the withdrawal by the contractor, at least one half of the stretch of the road had been graded and covered only in laterite, which after the intense rainfall of the past few months has given way to gullies and potholes that have left the road unmotorable and severely slowed down traffic, such that journey that will ordinarily last 1.5 hours down to 3 hours to complete. Further notes that because of the current condition of the road, it only takes for a vehicle or a truck to break down on it for a few minutes, and it will result in a build-up to static traffic. The strength that this was exactly what happened on the road, that is, a truck broke down on the road, as a result of which there was massive gridlock on the road, and this gridlock was cleared only after about 5 days. The stress that to worsen matters, the gridlock that was occasioned recently often left motorists and commuters stranded on the road, sometimes for between 6 to 9 hours on a journey that should last not more than 1.5 hours. I trust that there is a high probability that this gridlock will become a very recurrent occurrence in the immediate future. Well, that although the security situation has recently vastly improved along that stretch of road, gridlock is still exposing commuters head-on in this to the probability of bandits and terrorist attacks with their attendant loss of lives. Mindful that the Abuja-Kaduna highway is listed between North and South Nigeria, and the major road will go in the northwest and northeastern as well as neighboring countries. Equally mindful that the Abuja-Kaduna highway is the key outlet for transportation of persons, commodity, goods across Nigeria, and this is evident in the extraordinary traffic on it. Worried that the situation on the Abuja-Kaduna highway has become a debilitating drawback for the Nigerian economy, that if not immediately rectified, spells down for the economy and social life of Nigerians, contrary to Section 15, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which mandates the Nigerian state to provide adequate facilities for and encourage free mobility of people, goods, and services throughout Nigeria, as well as Section 41, subsection 1, which guarantees the right to freedom of movement throughout Nigeria to every Nigerian. determined that the aforementioned circumstances have made it urgent that the contractor Julius Berger PLC be immediately brought back to site to complete this phase of the contract, especially the stretch between Jere and Kaduna. The House resolved to call on the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing to urgently and without further delay direct the contractor Julius Berger PLC to immediately return to the site and complete its reconstruction works, starting with the Jere Kaduna stretch. Call on the federal government to deploy the military personnel and material resources as well as intelligence necessary to secure the Kaduna-Abuja expressway to enable the contractor resume work without risk to personnel and equipment. And finally, to mandate the House Committee on Works to liaise with the Minister of Works and Housing as well as the heads of relevant security agencies towards ensuring the implementation of our above resolution. I report to the House within 3 weeks. I so move. Thank you, Mr.
I remain Honorable Cook Abdul representing work in Origins in Southern Constituency and from State of Abuja, Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion raised by my colleagues. I so second.
The motion from Zakaria Ugaladima urging federal government assistance to the family of the cleric killed in Yobe was adopted. Among bills that passed second reading are the two sponsored by the House Speaker Femi Bajabiamila. The first bill seeks establishment of a National Religious Harmony Commission, and the second seeks to prohibit late payments of workers' wages, pensions and other emoluments.
Aware that the said Sheikh Muhammad, an Islamic cleric, was traveling from Kano to Kashua, town in Yobe State. Also aware that the cleric gave a ride to one corporal, John Gabriel. But on their way to Jajimaji, a village along Kashua town, where the said corporal Gabriel said he was going to ease himself, alleged that the corporal drew the Islamic scholars' attention to an unusual noise at the car, rear side of the car. Silence, please. To stop. Further aware that when the cleric came down to check the tires, Corporal Gabriel allegedly brought out his rifle and shot him to death. Again aware that after killing the cleric, Corporal Gabriel made efforts to drive the vehicle, but it refused to start. After which he invited one Corporal Adamu Gideon on phone to assist him in retrieving the vehicle. Acknowledge the efforts of a passerby who alerted the Nigerian police personnel from Jajimaji, who promptly mobilized to the scene and subsequently arrested the two suspects, Corporal John Gabriel and Corporal Adamu Gideon. Recall that the two suspects were at the material time serving men of the Nigerian army. The staff that the killing of the said cleric was unjustifiably barbaric without any cause, and therefore his family deserves momentary compensation. I present the prompt response of the military authority for after the proper military trial of the two men, dismiss them accordingly. Cognizant that after the dismissal, they were handed over to the police authority for trial before a competent court of jurisdiction. Desirous of the need for the police authority to liaise with the Yobe State Ministry of Justice to arraign two dismissed personnel men without delay. In its request, just as the Kano State High Court handled the murder of case of late Hanifa Abubakar. Also request the federal government through the Nigerian Army to pay monetary compensation
to the family of deceased victim since the dismissed army men admitted to having caused the death of Sheikh Mohammed Bani. Resolve. Condemn in strongest terms barbaric and deliberate killing of Sheikh Bani Mohammed. Urge the Yobe State government to commence without further delay the trial of Corporal John Gabriel and Corporal Adamu Gideon. Also urge the federal government through Nigerian Army to pay monetary compensation of blood of late Sheikh Bani Mohammed Aisani in the sum of 100,802,000 naira. Only. Mandate the Committee on Army to ensure compliance and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move. Any second. Honorable Olayewaju. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 8, Rule 4. Mr. Speaker, my worry is that is this motion qualified for us to be taken now as a matter of urgent public importance? Why do I say this, Mr. Speaker? It is pertinent for us to take attention of what happened to our people. But Mr. Speaker, this matter is already in public glance. The said officer has been given court martial, arraigned in High Court, and it's already been tried. Mr. Speaker, as a matter of fact, apart from that, the fact that this Alo chamber cannot discuss a matter already in court, already a sub judice, does it qualify as a matter of urgent public importance? I beg to say, Mr. Speaker, it does not. The officer in charge has been given, given disciplinary action by the Nigerian Army, sent the police for investigation, and it's been tried. I therefore beg to disagree that this motion be taken now, because we cannot place something on nothing. The basis for our action is that the Nigerian Army should act. The Nigerian Army has acted. They even gone beyond that. Police has acted. Even gone beyond that. Military has acted. It is therefore, in my view, Mr. Speaker, totally outside our purview and outside our jurisdiction now to begin to discuss an issue which already is sub judice. Mr. Speaker, that's my submission. Honorable Monem, let me draw the attention of the House. A similar incident or a similar motion was taken last week, Mr. Speaker, on Wednesday, the 21st of September 2022. In that motion, if you look at the votes and proceedings brought by Honorable Alaka on the murder case by one Chinese, he came to mislead the House by saying that the police did not act for 5 days. The murder was committed on Friday, 16th, Saturday, 17th, Sunday, 18th, Monday, 19th. On 20th, I have an evidence. This is the FIR. The man was charged to court on 20th, and this was the charge. Okay, actually, Okay, you are speaking to a motion that was brought last week.
Yes, sir.
Which is the same thing as
similar.
Your objection is the
Yes,
same.
I want the House to be guided so that we go by our rules. Order 9, Rule 1, Sub Rule 5, Mr. Speaker.
Since we have already put the question and that has already come, that was last week. The only thing we can do is to rescind our decision if the House agrees with you.
Yes.
So I think you have to bring that either by way of substantive motion or ask that we suspend our rules to allow you to bring the motion for decision now after we have taken this.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I agree with you, it's the same thing. But the circumstances are different. That one has already been taken last week. The only proper procedure now to bring that up is to rescind that motion, which we can do today if we agree. But let's on this. So you are saying that on this particular motion, you are agreeing with Honorable Olariwaju that the matter is in court. And
Order 8, Rule 4, 3 said any member who has an urgent matter to raise by the leave of the Speaker and unanimous agreement in which the mover of the motion has done that and the House agreed. And then now, even Honorable Mane Baba is saying the prayers. The man moving the motion is from that constituency. He knows the situation of the family of the late Sheikh. That was to make it an urgent issue, and in which we all agree and we accept it, Mr. Speaker. So based on that, I think I call the attention of our honorable colleagues to support this motion for an urgent matter to be moved. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I saw you.
So you have addressed one issue, or whether or not it is urgent enough. The other issue still pends, the issue of the court. Yes. Honorable Kuya.
To the effect that, number 1, from the fact deposed to by the mover of the original motion and from the date that the incident happened, there is no more urgency in the matter, and therefore the motion does not qualify to be taken as a matter of urgent public importance in view of the time of the incident. That's number 1. Number 2, sir. Order 9, Rule 1, Sub Rule 5 reads, reference shall not be made to any matter on which a judicial decision is pending by these chambers on its integrity. If this is so, and we are supposed to follow and respect our own rules, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this matter should be stepped down and wait for the outcome of the court decision with respect to the same matters. I so moved. I so second, sir. Condemn in strongest terms barbaric and deliberate killing of Sheikh Wali Muhammad. That's prayer 1. 2. Urge the Yobe State government to commence without further delay Adamu Gideon trial. Let me hear what he's saying. Urge the Yobe State government, ask the federal government through the Nigerian army to pay monetary compensation for the blood of Sheikh Wali Muhammad.
Okay, Rule 1.5. You only read a portion of it. You did not read the whole provision. So let me read or do you want to read the whole provision? Because the part you left out says that, well, let me read the whole thing. Reference shall not be made to any matter on which a judicial decision is pending in such a way as might, in the Speaker's opinion, prejudice the interests of the parties thereto. So at the end of the day, everything boils down to what is prejudicial in one's opinion. So it's not absolute that if the matter is in court we cannot talk about it. There's nothing like that. But it guides us, our rules guides us that try not to talk about it, particularly if it's going to be prejudicial, if in the speaker's opinion it's going to be prejudicial. That's why I asked Honorable Zakaria to read his prayers. And from the reading of the prayers, the most important prayer, which is the federal government will immediately pay compensation, preempts the outcome of the court decision. If we say federal government should immediately pay, and the court decides otherwise, what happens to our decision here? So it is that prayer for me that is a problem. I don't think any other prayer about it. It's that prayer that is a problem. The second one, that the language is what is important. You can urge the state government, you cannot compel the state government. So you can plead with the state government to do whatever it is you're saying they should do. That is left to state government to decide, because under our constitutional law, we cannot, we have separation of powers both amongst the three arms of government, horizontal and also vertical. We cannot compel the state government to do what is. It's possible that to the outcome. Let's hear your opinion.
So you are only trying to be deserves squarely the same treatment that we accorded to the last motion. One, it is honest government, a government legislative action to be taken on the floor of this house today will simply amount to a nudity in action. So I would like to
Honorable the minority leader, you have an amendment.
The issue of members sponsoring bill to establish schools in their various constituencies. When a member brings a motion, there's an intent. There is something that member is trying to cure in his constituency. Zachariah brought up a motion because there is an abnormality as it relates to one of his constituents. Even though his prayers do not tally with what it should be on the floor. But I tell you that will solve the issue without raising an issue that borders on somebody that has been unjustly killed.
And your constituents don't want to hear whether it complies with the rules or not. Eh?
Exactly. So I shall submit.
Under Order 8, Rule 4, to take the decision that was reached by last week on the 21st of 9th, 2022. Mr. Speaker, I want to move that we suspend our rule.
Those in any seconder? I saw second. Thank you. For the motion for rescission to be taken now without any notice, please say aye. Let's get the same way. Ayes have it. Honorable Munir, move your motion that we rescind and then we'll go ahead and debate it.
The motion on the need to investigate the gruesome murder of Olmo Kalsoon Buhari by a Chinese national, Mr. Geng Gorong in Kano State. I move that this House rescind its decision based on our rule on Order 9, Rule 1, Sub Rule 5, because the mover of the motion, I'm sorry to say, has misguided the House
by being economical with the truth, the case has been charged to court on the 20th 9th 2022, which I have the FIR here, and the charge and the motion was brought on 21st. And this has generated a lot of. We have had many cases which the state government and the police have done a lot. In that case, the man was charged on Tuesday and the murder was committed on Friday. They did all they can by the Ministry of Justice and the police. And for somebody to come and say that it has taken a lot of time to do justice to this case, that was not the case. And we have had many cases, Mr. Speaker. I want to draw the attention of this House that we have had a case of State versus Abdul Malik Tanko, whereby a 4-year-old girl was kidnapped and killed by one teacher called Abdul Malik and 2 others. As I am talking to you, that case has been disposed within 3-4 months, and they were sentenced to death by hanging. So we need to commend the police in Kano and the Ministry of Justice. So, Mr. Speaker, this is the point of correction why I want the House to rescind its decision, because it is not fair for us to come here and say we should go and investigate. And also, the mover of the motion has said that 5 days the police have not acted. It is not the case. He was economical with the truth. So this is the position of things, and that is why I want the House to rescind its decision. And in that case of Khartoum, which is more pathetic, a 4-year-old girl was killed. Already the case has been taken care by the police and the Ministry of Justice, and there was no need for us to bring it to the attention of the House because justice has been done. Right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Motion moved by Honorable Munir. I saw second.
Thank you. I believe Honorable Munir has already led the debate. I will say for or against.
To draw attention to something very fundamental on this motion for decision, which ranking members raised. In the presentation he made before this House, he made some references to the mover of the motion. That's Right Honorable Al-Hassan Rum from Kano State. And ordinarily, Mr. Speaker, this is a motion that ought to have come on notice. But granted, he was able to secure the leave of the House to move the motion. That, if it had been on notice, will have put the mover of the motion himself on notice of the fact that this kind of a motion for decision of his motion was going to be raised on the floor. And in moving the motion, he made a few unsavory comments also about him, saying that he misled the House, he was also economic with the truth. Mr. Speaker, in that case, I think equity demands that we hear from the mover of the motion, who unfortunately is not in plenary today. And I think as a chamber which respects the Constitution of Nigeria, of course, with guarantee that we should have fair hearing for everyone, I want to submit that it will not be very proper for this motion to be carried without hearing from Honorable Hassan Rum, who was the mover of the motion in the first instance, especially on the fact that he has made a few comments which seems to impugn on the character of the Right Honorable. That's my submission, Mr. Speaker.
Colleagues, without imputing motives and partially agreeing with the Honorable colleague that spoke last, I want to point out something. The day that motion was moved, Honorable Muni raised an objection which didn't pass. He spoke against the motion. And then in law, it seems he has bias already on the motion, and he is coming for a decision. And I want to say something here. We are are Parliament. We are representing Nigerians. We are not on any side. We are here for justice and to protect the integrity of the House. And I believe